Rama Rama Hare Krishna Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama Hare Rama 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 Hare 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 Krishna Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama Hare Rama 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 Hare Hare Krishna Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama Hare Rama 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 Hare Hare Hari Bol Hare Krishna Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama Hare Rama 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 Hare Hare Please sing, Hari Bol, Hari Bol. Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Rama. One more time, please, Hari Bol, please sing loudly. Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare.
Hare Krishna devotees. Please accept my humble obeisances of Guru Srila Prabhupada. Welcome devotees to our morning Bhagavatam class. This morning we'll be hearing from Srila Prabhupada. There isn't a following verse from the chapter that we have been discussing, which is chapter 13, entitled Dhritarashtra Quits Home. Srila Prabhupada only spoken 5-6 verses on that chapter. So we're going to go back to where we left off about a few weeks ago. So this is a chapter that the Srila Prabhupada gave a class, chapter 1, Canto 1, chapter 3, verse 14. Without further delay, we will go into the class. So I request devotees to please increase your volume on your end. The recording can sometimes be a little bit low. And please try to listen to the class so carefully that we will have at least one takeaway, one realization or reflection to share at the end of the class. Thank you. Haribol.
Jaya Radha Madhava Kunja Bihari Jaya Radha Madhava Kunja Bihari Gopi Jana Vallabha Girivaradhari Gopi Jana Vallabha Girivaradhari Jaya Radha Madhava Kunja Bihari Jaya Radha Madhava Kunja Bihari Gopi Jana Vallabha Girivaradhari Gopi Jana Vallabha Girivaradhari Yasodhanandana Braja Jana Nandana Yasodhanandana Braja Jana Nandana Jamuna Tira Banachari Jamuna Tira Banachari Jaya Radha Madhava Kunja Bihari Jaya Radha Madhava Kunja Bihari Gopi Jana Vallabha Girivaradhari Gopi Jana Vallabha Girivaradhari Yasodhanandana Braja Jana Nandana Yasodhanandana Braja Jana Nandana Yasodhanandana Braja Jana Nandana Jamuna Tira Banachari Jamuna Tira Banachari Jaya Radha Madhava Kunja Bihari Jaya Radha Madhava Kunja Bihari Jayam Svatanam Saparibrajacharya Satari Sadasmad Bhakti Siddhanta Saraswati Goswami Prabhupada ki jai Ananta Koti Vaishnavavrinda ki jai Ramacharya Srila Haridas Thakur ki jai Prem se kaho Shri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Advaita Gadadhar Shivasadi Gaur Bhaktavrinda ki jai Shri Radha Krishna Gaur Gopinath Sam Kund Radha Kund Giri Govardhan ki jai Vrindavan Dham ki jai Navadvip Dham ki jai Ganga Mai ki jai Jamuna Mai ki jai Tulasi Devi ki jai Bhakti Devi ki jai Samhita Bhaktivinoda ki jai. All glories to the Assembly. All glories to the Assembly. All glories to the Assembly. Thank you very much.
Translation. O Brahmins, the ninth incarnation of the Lord, prayed for by the sages, was King Prithu, who cultivated the land to yield various produces, and for that reason the earth was beautiful and attractive.
This refers to King Prithu, Maharaj Prithu. So, his father's name was King Beno. And his father's name was, I don't remember, perhaps Ongo, like that. So, the Beno's father married one woman. She was the daughter of Death. Means the family was not very good. So as a result of this marriage, a son was born whose name was Bena, who came out to be first-class rogue. So, the father of Bena wanted to reform him in so many ways, but he could not. The son was not to be correct. So the father became disgusted, and one day he left home without any knowledge of the family members or the officers, and he left. Then the great sages and brahmanas, because without king there was irregularities in the kingdom, just like we have got experience. If there is no good government, strong government, the rogues, thieves, smugglers and so many other disruptive elements, they will grow. Because they are always existing, they find out the opportunity. As soon as there is some revolution, political upsurge or mismanagement of the government, these undesired elements, they come out. So, when the father of Ben Maharaj left home, the kingdom became unruly. Therefore, the sages and saintly persons, they asked the queen that your son, although he is worthless, so let him become king. There must be some king. So this Bena was made king by the desire of the saintly person. The significance is that formerly the Brahmanas, the Kshatriyas, the Vaishyas and the Shudras, these four departments, they must remain. Varnashram, that must be maintained. Class, division. So, the Brahmanas, this saintly person sages, they used to recommend that yes, this person is fit for becoming king. Then the coronation was celebrated. They mean that the Kshatriyas were under the order of the Brahmanas. So, when Bena became king, of course, the rogues and thieves, they were immediately subdued, because the rogues and thieves, and here the king is also greater rogue, So the smaller rogues were subdued immediately. That was one of the benefits, because he was very strong and cruel. Immediately caught a rogue, he'll immediately cut off his head. So they were subdued, but he himself is a rogue. Nunang mohotang tatre, this is our experience. Might is right. If you are stronger, then you can subdue less strong. But he became very much disturbing. He was atheist, and he ordered that there is no God, I am God. So what I say, you have to abide the Brahman swear. You cannot perform yogas, this is not required. In this way, he became too much disturbing. Then one day all the Brahmanas and the sages, they came to give him instruction. My dear king, it is not your duty to stop all kinds of religious activities, just like the communist government. Yes. But who hears? He said, no, why you are trying to pacify God? I am God. You just act. If you are actually God conscious, then you act according to my order. So, when the sages and Brahmins became disgusted, he was killed by the Brahmins, by their order, he says. The Brahmins were so strong, by simply cursing, they could kill anyone. So the Bain was killed. Then again the rogues and thieves came out. Then from the body of Bain, they created two sons. One son was black, and he was ordered that you go to the forest, because they could know that he is the exact son of the father. Nishada. Nishada. He was sent to the forest. And then the king Prithu was born. The king Prithu is incarnation of, power incarnation of God. Saktave Sabata. So he proved himself as a great king on this earth. He produced foodstuff, food grains profusely. That from the life of King Prithu we can understand. We are discussing that in the 4th canto, the life of Maharaj Prithu. How good government can we maintain? Prithu Maharaj is the ideal king. He produced, he made arrangement. The earth was not producing sufficient food grains, so he attacked the earth that why you are not producing. The Mother Earth said that because the people have become demon and they are simply eating, but they are not doing their duty, therefore I have minimized producing grain. This is to be very important, that the earth can produce any amount of food grains. There is no question of overpopulation. There is no question of overpopulation. Because everyone is being fed by the mercy of God. Eka mohunang vidudhati kama. God is giving everyone the foodstuff. I have several times explained in this class that nobody has got any food problem. Simply the so-called civilized, advanced in science, these people have got problems of food grains. Otherwise, there are millions of elephants, they are eating very nicely. There are ants, there are elephants, there are tigers, there are monkeys, there are trees, so many. 8,400,000 forms of body. How they are eating? Unless they are eating, we kill animals. But the animals do not come to us that we are starving, give us food. Never. By nature, there is arrangement, foodstuff, the cows, the other animals, they are eating grass. There is profuse growth of grass. So, they are not eating your nice foodstuff, sandesh rasgulla. You are making sandesh rasgulla from the milk which they deliver. They are eating grass and delivering you nice foodstuff, milk. And from the milk you can make hundreds and thousands of nice, nutritious, full of vitamin foodstuff. But no, we are so full that instead of utilizing the milk, we are utilizing the blood. You see? These rascals, the scientists, they do not know that milk is nothing but transformation of the blood. That everyone knows. So if you want to, that is nature's way, by God's will, that a cow gives 40 pounds, 50 pounds milk daily, but it does not drink. Although it is her milk, no, it gives you, human society. You take. But don't kill me. Let me live. I am eating only grass. You see? And the civilized men killing them. Killing them. And they want peace. Just see the fun. Without touching your foodstuff, the cow is eating the grass which is given by God, immense grass, and they are giving you the finest foodstuff, milk. Just after your birth, you have only to drink milk. Either mother's milk. Now nowadays mothers do not supply milk. That is also to be supplied by the cow. So from the very beginning of my life, I am subsisting by the foodstuff given by mother, cow, and when I am grown up, I kill. This is my gratitude. Just see. And they are called civilized. Less than lowest animal, Naradhama. They are called Naradhama, lowest of the mankind. Those who are killing cows, maintaining slaughterhouse, they are lowest of the mankind. They are not human beings, less than animal. They have no gratitude. So, the idea is that there is no food problem. That as the Mother Earth said to King Prithu, that I am restricting. So the more you become sinful, the food supply will be stopped. This is the law of nature. At the end, there will be no food grains at the end of Kali Yuga. That is stated in the Srimad Bhagavatam. There will be no food grain, no fruits, no milk, no sugar. You have to live on flesh and blood, at that time, being hungry, you will kill your own children and eat flesh and blood. That day is waiting. So this is the civilization, most heinous civilization. It can only be saved by spreading this Krishna consciousness movement. Otherwise there is no way. It's so sinful civilization. Therefore our first restriction is no meat eating. The most sinful act, meat eating or intoxication, drinking, gambling and illicit sex. These are the 4 pillars of sinful life. So unless you stop, you break these 4 pillars, how you can think of God? God is not so cheap. The rascal says you can do whatever you like. I give you, I push your eyes and you see God. You push your nose, you see God. These nonsense things are going on. But God is not so cheap. He is cheap, very cheap, He is very kind. But we want to remain sinful, that we cannot see God. Arjuna addressed Krishna, Param Dhama, Param Brahma, Pavitram Paramam Bhama. You are the most pure. So, how you can approach God with sinful life? That's not possible. That is simply bogus thing. That you keep your sinful life, at the same time you want to see God, you want to talk with God. That is not possible. So, this point is that if the population of the world becomes sinful, demonic, then nature will not supply you sufficient food. She will diminish. We have got experience. In India, we have seen some years there is overproduction of mango. People are very cheap, everyone can purchase it. And sometimes there is no supply, some years. Similarly, food grains also. Some years there is oversupply of food grain. And sometimes there is scanty supply. Now, this supply of food grains, fruits and everything, even milk, in our new Vrindavan, because the cows feel very safe, they give us sufficient milk. That is our experience. So you keep things in order according to the Vedic injunction. You get sufficient food. There is no question of scarcity. But if you become sinful, demons, then the nature's food supply will be ultimately stopped. You can produce your food in the factory. You cannot do that. You can produce motor cars to consume all the petroleum within the earth, and then you become no petrol. Then throw all these motor cars, unless you find out some other energy. That you can do. You can make things topsy-turvy. But by your so-called scientific advancement, you cannot increase stop non-production. That you cannot. So there was such a time, because Prithu Maharaj's father was a demon, he stopped all religious activities, therefore people became demonic, and there was restriction of food supply. Then Prithu Maharaj made arrangement, and there was sufficient food stock. Dugdhi imam osadhi vipra tinayam sausattam. Since Prithu Maharaj arranged the whole society to be religious, to be God conscious, everything become beautiful. This can be done even now. If people become Krishna conscious, the whole world will become beautiful, Vaikuntha, without any anxiety. That is possible, because that is nature's law. Just like if you become criminal, the state police force will always harass you. You cannot get out of it. It will harass you. But that is expensive job for the government, because it requires extra police, extra management, extra everything. But if the people become honest, God conscious, so many expenditure will be reduced. And money will be saved for spreading Krishna consciousness or for Krishna's service. Then the whole world will become exactly as it was in the Prithu Maharaj's day. So Prithu Maharaj was very nice king. He not only helped producing enough foodstuff, but he was examining each man whether he is employed or not. There was no unemployment in Prithu Maharaj's time. Everyone must have employment, engagement. Nowadays, in spite of so much advancement of science, there are thousands and thousands of unemployed people. They have no sufficient engagement. Of course, in your country, although there is employment, they are denied to accept employment. In India, for employment, there is employment bureau by the government. So if you go to any employment bureau, you will find thousands of men are standing in line to get a job. Unemployment. But it is the duty of the government to see that nobody is unemployed. Everyone must have some means of earning. That is good government. So Prithu Maharaj did it. The Brahmins, not that a Brahmin will be employed as a Shudra. No. A Brahmin must be employed as Brahmin. A Kshatriya must be employed for Kshatriya. A Vaishya must be employed for Vaishya and Shudra. That was the system. The Brahmins are rejected in the present society because they have no more interest in religious activities. They don't care for the Shastra, Sadhu, no, don't care. They simply sense care. Dhyakyam kutumma bharanam. Udaram bharita. At the present moment, people will be satisfied, just like animal. If animal has got sufficient food to fill up the belly and sufficient arrangement for sex, then he is satisfied. He doesn't want anything. So man has become like that. If his belly is filled up with some rubbish thing, and he is free to have sex life, then he thinks my life is perfect now. And more perfect life, dhyakyam kutumma bharanam. And they say, if one man can maintain his wife and children, he will be considered a great man. He is so able. That is maintaining his wife and children. Maintaining wife and children, they even cats and dogs can do. But in this age, if a man can maintain his wife and children, he will be considered a very expert. Because most people will have no wife, no children. This is the age. So, more you become sinful, the more you become irresponsible, the more you become godless. These things are avoided. Thank you very much.
Amazing class by Srila Prabhupada. Every paragraph, there's a lesson to learn, a lesson to write, a lesson to make note. Really amazing points. Would like to ask devotees if any takeaways, please share with us. We would like to hear which points of Srila Prabhupada really resonated with you, what really hit home. Please share. Would love to hear from you. You can unmute yourself and speak whenever you would like to. Or you can put it in the post, in the chat, and I'll be happy to read it. Really amazing class by Srila Prabhupada.
Hare Krishna, Mother.
Hare Krishna. Accept my
humble obeisances. All glories to Srila Prabhupada. Amazing class. So I opened that Prabhupada one, the same one on my computer. So
Yeah.
Just reading when Prabhupada also was explaining about it, right? So first of all, I started writing in my notebook, but then I thought, okay, it's a lot more. So I started copying. Then I thought it's like the whole paragraph I need to copy. It's like every paragraph, he just touches all the points, So it's amazing. So one thing I was just about the Pruthi Maharaj and King Bena, he was talking about, right?
Mm-hmm.
So, and then he says, because the King Prithu, himself is God, he's Krishna, but he's a Krishna conscious too. And that's why everything was Krishna conscious and Mother Earth was giving enough food and everything. So we all have to be Krishna conscious to become everybody serious about the cow killing and all that. So that whole topic, he talked a lot about that. So that was amazing too. Like he gives a scientific reason about it, right? Why we should not kill the cow and why she is actually giving us. It's actually her blood transform into the milk and have that rather than killing me. So you go over that. That's amazing points about being a vegetarian or the Krishnitarian, we can say, right? So this so amazing lecture. We have to listen that again and again, kind of that.
Amazing
and 30
point.
minutes, he have touched so many points.
It's amazing, how Prabhupada can give a 30-minute class and he touches on everything and you're like, oh, it just mind blows. It's like mind blowing,
Yeah,
Amazing.
and one point he mentions, like in New Vrindavan, because the cow feel very safe, they give us sufficient milk.
Yes.
That's amazing, right? Like a lot of people, they have, like, we come from farmer background, we still have the cows at home, and we keep the cows is not for milk. It's just like, we have to serve her. So she's always there. So a lot of cows, after a long period of time, they don't even give a milk. They don't get pregnant or anything. They just stay there, but they feel safe. So even being at home, it's a lot of good vibes we can see there. So a lot of things she takes on her, a lot of bad things coming to the house, right? So, because there are a lot of different anarthas there, right? Some are like Adi Devik, Adi Bhautik. Some is coming that we do not have any control, but the cow is taking on her. So that's
you made a very good point, Swanagra, about safety and protection. That was a good point, like when the cows are feeling safe and protected, they have nothing to fear. Just like women, when they're in the house, when they're safe and protected, they have nothing to fear. They feel very much empowered. Very nice point. Thank you for sharing that. Wow. Yeah, there's a lot of points from Srila Prabhupada's lectures, like unbelievable. Like every paragraph, there's something. Every paragraph, there's something.
And at the end, it was so amazing, right? So Prabhupada, at the end, it is like something he touches, which is very important, right? So we think my life is perfect, right? So nowadays the men are becoming like that, right? So if I'm able to feel my wife and children, they consider I'm a great person or a great man. And that's what we are kind of doing. Even being, bhakti, we sometimes take it as a granted. And we just go into that 8 to 5 cycle, right? The routine, it's kind of very mechanical. So every day morning we wake up, we have to log in, log out, and all that stuff. That becomes priority. And that's kind of supersedes your life. So you just forget about the bhakti and all that. So end of the day, what happens? That's what we've been doing. How much money in the bank? What kind of safety we have, right? Our kids, wife, and the family is happy. we're able to feed them their necessities, we're able to, so we feel like, yeah, we are great. If we have some scarcity there, something is not able to do it, then we get panic. So, I mean, we also, being in Bhakti, do the same thing ultimately. So, what Prabhupada is saying, we're supposed to be Krishna conscious, right? So,
Yeah,
uh,
that's a good point.
that
That
sometimes we forget. We take
yes,
Prabhupada words kind of granted. We don't
very
take it
much.
serious. So this is for us. I mean, it's like we are not exempt from this one. The last paragraph, last couple
The
paragraphs.
last one was
We
powerful.
also, yeah, because sometimes what happens, we think like we are in Bhakti and we forget that this is for us as well. We think we are out of this group,
True.
but we are in that group as well. We are also doing the same thing. It's not
Very,
100%, but still in some percentage we are there. So we have to always
very
think
true.
that we have surrendered our life to Prabhupada. So we
Yeah.
have to be very serious in Krishna consciousness because we are the examples for this society.
Very, very good point. Yeah, the last paragraph is definitely, why it says maintaining wife and children, even cats and dogs can do. I'm like, whoa, that's pretty, it's like almost comparing us to the animal kingdom, like even the cats
Yep.
and dogs can do. But yeah, it's true. It's really true. And then, but his last sentence is really powerful. So the more you become sinful, the more you become irresponsible, the
The
more you
more you
become
become
godless, these
godlike.
things are waiting. I was like,
Yeah.
whoa, Krishna, Chaitanya. Yeah, we have to become Krishna conscious. Amazing. Thank you. Amazing, amazing points. Anyone else would like to
Thank you,
share?
mother.
Oh, yeah, go
It
ahead,
was
Swarnabha.
amazing.
Sorry.
Thank you for the lecture, though. It's always enlightening.
It's always nice to hear from Prabhupada.
Yeah.
Amazing. And like you said, sometimes we get so caught up and we think that because we're in the process, we got it together, we got it down. But when we hear Prabhupada, we realize, oh my God, I have nothing. I have to heal it. It's like Prabhupada is speaking to me for me to snap out of this. Oh, I'm all okay. I'm all good. I'm perfect. I'm all, yeah, it's so, so true. That's a really nice thought you shared. Thank you, Swana Garanga. I really
Hare Krishna.
appreciated that.
Hare Krishna.
Any other points from devotees? Any thoughts?
Hare Krishna. Accept on holy basis. Let's go to Srila Prabhupada. Yes, I agree. A lot of points that are made by Srila Prabhupada in this short half hour. And first, when he talked about Varnashram, he said that the sages were the ones to recommend a person to be the king. The sages were the ones to recommend. These days, it's all done by politics, campaign, putting down the other person, and how much money you have is how much advertisement you can put out. And I personally, I'm really sick of what's going on because when I go to the television screen to turn on YouTube, because YouTube is where we hear Srila Prabhupada lectures, we hear other, Prabhupada disciples talking about their remembrance of Srila Prabhupada. They're all on YouTube. But the first thing you see is some politician putting down another politician. It just got to the point where, and they don't allow you to kind of turn off either. It says whatever video you want to listen to or watch would occur after the ad. So then you are forced to kind of sit through the ad. So at this point, when I see the ad come, I just hit the audio button off so that I look at it, but I don't hear them. It's crazy now.
Good point.
Mm-hmm. And the things are upside down because, the person that has most money is the one that's pushing for abortion to be the norm. Mm-hmm. Killing children. They don't remember that if their mother aborted them, they themselves wouldn't be in the world at this point. But still, this is all going on. So the situation in Kali is actually getting worse. Anyway, that's just besides the point. So Srila Prabhupada went through how Vina was made king because the rogues at the time, the Anga, Vina's father, left. There was so much turmoil because the rogues were coming out and committing crimes. So Vena was made king, but he was a greater rogue himself. So the only thing that happened first was that might is right. So since Vena was a greater rogue than the other rogues, the rogues could not harm the others. But then he banned everything that was spiritual. Just like slowly here in this country, things that are spiritual are being banned, things that are wrong are being accepted as the norm. Slowly, one after another, people are accepting. And this is absolutely wrong. So anyway, when the sages became disgusted, they cursed Vina. Vina was killed, and again the rogues came out. So then the sages had to churn the body of Vina, and they produced two sons, as Srila Prabhupada described. The first one was asked to go to the forest because he was just like the father, and the other one, the first one was called Bahuka, by the way, and the other one was Prithu. And he's a Shaktavesh avatar of Krishna. And he was made king. Shaktavesh avatar, if I could just talk a little bit about that, because it's explained in the Gaga Samhita. So Shaktavesh avatar is representative of Krishna with a particular purpose. And in this case, the person's body, mind, everything is taken over. So the person is acting like Vishnu himself would act if he was here. So that's Shaktavesh avatar. And this is Dhanavya Maharaj that explained that, but everybody, then he posed the question, this is what I want to bring up here. He was saying that but everybody already has the soul and the super soul inside the heart. So how does Shaktavesh avatar situation come? Shaktavesh avatar king, the Vishnu takes over and uses that particular personality for the purpose that Vishnu wants. So it's like Vishnu is dictating totally when it comes to Shaktavesh avatar. And then he explained that, all right, so if you're concerned about the Lord as Paramatma in the heart, the difference is the Paramatma does not dictate what happens. The person's soul, the soul is the one that's dictating what happens. And the Paramatma just simply permits. But in Shaktavesh avatar, then Lord Vishnu dictates everything. So it's like it's a full takeover. Whereas in the regular person, the super soul is there, but the super soul does not take over what happens. The soul that does whatever they want, to do, and of course, using the mind and the senses and so on, whether they do the right thing, whether they do the wrong thing, super soul does not interfere. But with Shaktavesh avatar, everything is done to Lord Vishnu or Krishna. That's all I wanted to add to it. Hare Krishna.
Thank you so much. I think you'll have to. Thank you so much for sharing that point. Yes, and every time I hear this term Shaktivesh avatar, I always have to remind myself the meaning of it, because that we don't hear that so much. So it's always nice to be reminded about what that term actually means. And Srila Prabhupada used the word power incarnation of God, which is what I think you mentioned, is that they come for a particular purpose with that empowerment. So thank you for bringing that point. Anyone else would like to share a point, takeaway, reflection, realization that they can either speak up or they can post in the chat, and I'll be happy to read. One point that really stood out for me, and I apologize for the background noise. I guess it's people are doing whatever they have to do outside. What is really what stood out for me is when Srila Prabhupada spoke about Mother Earth. He was saying that how when we misuse Mother Earth, she can refuse to provide grains, which really shows that Mother Earth is real, is life, is a personality. It's not just something that that we take, it's not a non-living entity. It's real. And sometimes I feel that, sometimes when there is and this just hit me, sometimes when we see famine and when we hear drought and we hear, not much growth, I think we have to look back and ask ourselves, why is that so? And it's because, people in today's times are misusing Mother Earth for their own sense gratification. They're misusing what the Lord has given us. So she has the right to sometimes pull back and say they're misusing me, and therefore I won't give much grains. And Srila Prabhupada literally mentioned here that that is the idea, that the Lord, that Mother Earth can restrict. If we become sinful and if you must use her, she can restrict. So that was a very strong message for me to really, not really, to make sure that we do not waste. We do not take things for granted. We do not take the supply from Mother Earth for granted. We do not waste prasadam. We do not waste boga when we buy to cook at home when the temple. We really value everything very seriously. We don't waste grains. So I was really appreciating that point. That was a point that that one of the points that really resonated with me. How we should not take anything for granted. Everything is given by the Lord. So that was one point that I wanted to share. Anything else from devotees that you would like to share, you would like to speak, you would like to, add on? Okay, if there isn't, just,
Ex-
you want to say something?
Yeah.
Go ahead.
Hare Krishna. Again, there's some points that Srila Prabhupada talked about. And notice that Peter Maharaj's time, he made sure that everyone was employed. Mhm. Then there's ways, you have to work. So, but when everybody's employed, then it means that it's possible for people to live their lives without anxiety. And now, that's one of the things I was saying, and we're also doing pretty much the same thing. But then, if you lose your job, then anxiety immediately sets in, because how are we going to support ourselves? So a good king has to make sure everyone is employed. And Peter Maharaj made the society God conscious. He arranged the whole society to be God conscious. And because he did that, then everything happened nicely to them. Again, this is sentient situation. If you produce and live on the earth in a very nice way, in accordance with nature, then nature also supplies. This, what Manasi was also saying, that the earth is very much alive. And so based on how we treat the earth, you see, Prabhupada was also saying, people are producing motor cars to consume all the oil from the earth, and after that, you have to throw them away or find another means of energy. Yeah, oil is not going to stay forever. The way people are drilling, at some point, there will be shortage of oil. So this life is very, very demonic. People are eating meat, and Sri Prabhupada called them Naradama. Naradama is the lowest of mankind. The lowest of mankind. That's why, they have physical bodies, but they are still low in consciousness. Very, very low in consciousness. And Sri Prabhupada, he says the animal, the cow's blood, and people are eating the flesh and the blood, but it's the same blood that the cow transforms to milk, which is very nutritious for us, and still people are getting, trying to get the diet from meat. And it's worse than that. They're trying to even say the meat gives us good nutrition as opposed to even vegetarian meals. And this is not true at all. All of the nutrition we can get from vegetables and milk and grains. But this is even a campaign going on supporting meat eating. Hare Krishna. I can go on and on and on. This society is upside down. Hare Krishna.
Yeah, we live in Kali Yuga. That's expected, Sri Prabhupada said. So we just got to, what helps me, in my Krishna consciousness that I always have to remind myself is we make the best of the bad bargain. We have a bad bargain. We make the best of it in Krishna's service. So we just keep on chugging along. Just a humble reminder to devotees to please join us this evening at 6 o'clock from that's when we hear from Srila Prabhupada from Bhagavad Gita. Srila Prabhupada says, we're continuing with, I think, it is chapter 1, verse 13. So please do join us at 6 o'clock this evening. And tomorrow morning is Chandramali Swami's class. Please do join us at 8 o'clock in the morning. It's 8 o'clock because Maharaj is back in UK and they just changed their time. I think we are going to face that soon. I think the daylight savings time thingy. So they just started theirs like a week ago. So please do join us this evening at 6 o'clock to hear from Srila Prabhupada and Bhagavad Gita. And tomorrow morning from His Holiness Chandramali Swami at 8 o'clock, and he will continue with the Bhagavatam. Until then, if there are no other points in sharing from devotees, we thank you for joining us. Vanchakraptabhyascha, Kripasindhabevacha, Patitanam Pavanebhyo Vaishnavebhyo Namo Namaha. Srila Prabhupada ki jai. Have a wonderful day.
Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna.